I like lots of different ideas. And there we go. Alright, we appear to be underway. Got one person starting from Sank, and the other starting from Link's house. We've got a heart in Link's house and 20 rupees in Sanctuary. Elminster is going from Link's house and immediately saving and quitting to Sanctuary. As LiteYear is going for the Houlihan route.
I like that route. It shows you that you have enough rupees to go through Kakariko.
There is that.
Oh, but a triple does give them a big advantage by having big 20 on this first reward.
Oh, there's the flippers inside the uncle's tunnel there.
Gonna make going in Houlihan a bit different since flippers does block the way that LiteYear did use.
Yeah, so I keep trying to look for an interesting way to try to access the Houlihan room while having the flippers and not having the gloves, and it's just not working out for me.
Yeah, it's pretty hard at the beginning when you lack the rupees. You might as well just go away and try something else if you don't have the required rupees. Fortunately for these runners right now, they have plenty.
Alright, so Elminster finds the map of Thieves Town. That will allow Elminster to find out what crystal or pendant Thieves Town holds once they reach the Dark World by checking the map. Normally, in the game, you will see crystals and stuff on the map when you check it, but in Keysanity, the maps are what allow you to see that.
Yep, one of the small differences there is between the other modes in Keysanity. And just to add to that effect, the music in the dungeons are also randomized, so you can't guess with only the music alone.
Indeed. Oh, and there's another big chunk of change in the back of the tavern, so it looks like the Houlihan route just really not paying off today.
Yeah, with lots of available rupees, at least are going to be able to afford pretty much everything needed, including bombs and the bottle merchant item.
Got a diagonal synced bomb purchase there. This is some actual real sync here between Elminster and Maligord.
And we get our first small key, a small key for Turtle Rock. Might be useful later on, especially since Turtle Rock does require a bunch of small keys to go through.
Yeah, you're gonna need at least 3 just to get to Trinex and beat it, but even more if there's that one troll item in the big key chest.
Oh yes, it's often skipped just to get further in the dungeon without needing all the keys. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what's in there.
Alright, so let's see what's in Blind's hut today. We've got the Desert Small Key. That's actually very interesting. And a sword. And the Big Key of Mire. And the map of Hera. So, interestingly enough, a little bit of information about tons of dungeons here. And a blue boomerang.
Yep, the map have much more value in the beginning like this when you don't know where everything is.
So the blue boomerang is actually moderately relevant early game. At least so you can find out what the stun drop is.
Yeah, that's true. And it's also a bit useful just to be able to stun enemies, as when you don't have a reliable weapon, such as a sword, which they already have anyway, it can be very useful.
Alright, so we have a big key on the library. That's something that many runners will forget. So make sure you remember when you see that big key. Over in the race game, we've got Big 20. And both Maligord and Elminster opting to not check that immediately. Interestingly enough, both runners electing to walk away from the race game. Oh, they picked up the shovel. When did that happen?
I believe it was in the well.
Oh, okay. Whew! Is this even Keysanity? Like, what's up with all this money being thrown around?
Does that mean they're going to need a lot of potions to get through this?
Oh, who knows? But, I'm kind of feeling a Zora check might happen soon at this rate.
Yeah, might need a few more items just for that. Or not if they decide to just fake flipper through it, but
Well, we do know where the flippers are, though. They're perfectly available. They're in the Uncle's Tunnel.
That's right. But seeing how these guys are riding right now, I don't think Elminster and Maligord will get the flippers before going there.
Yeah, it seems unlikely. Perhaps they will get the Moon Pearl, though.
Here's hoping, though.
Now, Minster gonna pick up that map, and it's the worthless Hyrule Castle map. Super worthless. Alright, so Elminster heading into the mini Moldorm cave.
Goes fairly quick when you have a sword.
Alright, so 5 items here. We've got the first pod key and an Ice Palace key. And that's about all that was relevant.
Ice Palace key is interesting, as you don't really need a small key to complete Ice Palace, but it does save a few rooms of going through having that small key.
Right. And depending on what items you have, the logic may want you to have one. So that may be sort of indicating the fact that Ice Palace might have something you want. But it's a minor adjustment to the probabilities. Alright, so let's see what Ice Rod Cave holds for us. Just a piece of heart.
And from his lack of saving quitting, I'm betting he's going for fake flippers here.
Yep. The unfortunate part of this being that he will not be able to pick up what is in the waterfall cave.
Yeah, I won't be able to achieve this this minor trick you can do there to water walk. And of course to be able to just get the items inside the cave.
And Elminster not bothering to check the Lake Hylia Island at the moment. He may do so on the way back. We'll see. Oh, that's the Quake Medallion on the Lake Hylia Island. Maligord did see that. Elminster just picks up a, pretty useless compass from the hobo. We also see that Eastern Palace is its vanilla green pendant today. Oh wait, was that Ether? Man, I can't see.
It's a medallion for sure. It also looked like Sasha's did have a hook shot in there. Did miss it.
Oh, that must have been what was in the left chest, because I looked away for half a second.
Thank goodness we have good trackers.
Alright, so Zora will be handing out a power glove. Whoa! So I know for a fact that the logic does not actually, care about the number of rupees you have to reach Zora, but that's pretty ridiculous that it hands you all those rupees and then, oh look, Zora's a thing.
Yeah, it's definitely a rare occurrence to see that.
Oh boy, there's the flute. In Eastern Palace, we've got half magic, the map of Pod, and 50 rupees in the back of Escape.
That half magic does make a few fights in the game easier, but so far it's not going to be used just because for lack of any items that uses that magic. AceZer0187 just picked up his blue mail inside Eastern. That's a nice safety to have early on. Elm is trying to go through Hyrule Castle, trying to find out what's the items in the basement, while AceZer0187 is going through the dark rooms inside Eastern and goes through it fairly well. It's not a very hard room to go through, but sometimes you can get a bit lost. It's a good thing they do have a sword to make the small sparkles around them, just so they can find their way.
Alright, so it looks like LiteYear did end up checking the cave, and that had the other glove in it.
This is wow, interesting.
So AceZer0187 is going to go activate the flute. I don't have anything prepared for this situation. Alright, so we find blue mail in Zelda's cell.
And meanwhile, the two runners in in the bottom row are currently going through dark rooms, so you don't see much for now. They both get through pretty easily, rescuing the old man, get rewarded with a bottle with blue potion inside of it. Now it's going to be interesting to see how Elm and Maligord decide to route their stuff in, just because of the location for the myths. Might take a while for them to visit the waterfall again.
Yeah, that's gonna be way out of the way. And I knew it was gonna be unfortunate that they hadn't picked up those flippers yet. Now Maligord is making the interesting play, sequence breaking up to Death Mountain. While AceZer is not sequence breaking, he has the flute. Picking up yet another pod key. I think that's probably just the second one.
Nope, it's always a good to have many pod keys. As I believe the very least you need is 4 if you have both the bow and the hammer, and you can do the trick hammer young.
That is true. And the logic, of course, wants you to have all 6 before you can defeat Helmasaur. Of course, for all we know, Helmasaur may not be required.
It does look like Elm is got a bit lucky here and decided to go to the waterfall pretty early on. He already has the mitts, so that's not a big time loss compared to his opponent.
Very nice. Alright, so we picked up the Master Sword in Paradox Cave. As well as the Ice Rod. And the Moon Pearl. And the bow! Good lord.
That was one of the most stacked caves I've seen so far.
Alright, LiteYear going into the back of Eastern, picking up the map of Turtle Rock. It looks like LiteYear will be going to activate that flute soon.
Pretty good idea to do it early on when you get the flute. It just saves so much time over the run to do it as soon as you can.
Alright. So if you don't mind, I may have something now. Everyone please rise for the National Swag Duck Anthem. Sometimes people will say that the flute is just lame, and they cannot proclaim love for Swag Duck. But at least this is true. Unlike some big fish dude, he will not charge you $500.
Dang, could not have said better.
And there's that mail upgrade as well in Eastern. I missed that the first time.
Yep, that's a great safety so far in the siege. Been giving a few early swords, a flute, and red mail. So yeah, it's looking to be maybe a fast seed. I don't want to talk fast too much, but yeah.
Well, so Maligord is going to be the only person to make the play into Eastern already having the bow, which is very interesting. They actually are going to have the chance to clear it out if they want to.
Though it's going to be a bit difficult without the big key.
What are you talking about? I don't know what you mean. Don't pay any attention to that guy over there who doesn't know what he's talking about.
It's one of the difficulties sometimes in Keysanity where you have the required items to beat it, just not the required keys to do so.
I have brains. I don't know what you're talking about. All right. All right. AceZer are going to head back up to Death Mountain and then flute away, I assume. Because he apparently did not check the Ice Rod Cave, so we're going to deal with that mess. Then he may finally go get his gloves.
So with the items they got so far, I can see how maybe the Ice Palace could be an early play here.
Yeah, the presence of at least one key and the Titansmiths. The only thing they need is that fire source to get in the front.
Yep, and depending on what medallion that actually is on the island, all they would need to get that is the mirror. So they still have a bunch of stuff to get to actually get anywhere, so don't listen to me.
Well, I mean, they have Mitts and Moon Pearls, so they can get over to the left side of Dark World pretty easily. Okay, it was Ether, apparently. It looked like Quake the first time I saw it, but then it was Ether.
Now, Sick Kid hold no value with only a compass.
Yeah, it's definitely Ether. All right. So Elminster is going to make a bomb jump, or not. And he's going to head to the dark side of Death Mountain, looks like. This will be our first Dark Death Mountain check. So Elminster was going to go up to Turtle Rock and attempt to open the portal up there, and then realized he didn't have the hammer.
They did get a lot of items pretty fast. Maybe he just forgot he didn't have this item in particular.
I mean, I'd be thinking, oh yeah, let's just go get Turtle Rock out of the... But we might get to go see what Turtle Rock requires.
Ooh, and LiteYear is making a play for the first chest inside of Castle Tower.
Interesting. Oh, the big key of Ganon's tower is sitting in Super Bunny Cave.
LiteYear picked up a vanilla small key. Fortunately, without the lamp, he's going to have a rough time going through these dark rooms.
Wow, vanilla small key in the first chest. That's interesting. Now, the dark room to get to the second chest is not that bad. It's okay. Did you see what medallion Turtle Rock was? Because I missed it.
And unfortunately, I did miss it too.
Oh, there's the mirror in the bottom chest of Hookshot Cave. Ah, it looks like Turtle Rock is that ether medallion, which we saw on the island, and he just got the mirror to go get it.
Now, that's some pretty interesting logic so far.
And with that mirror, Elminster can actually make a play on Tower of Hera right now.
Yeah, having the mitts, the mirror, and the flute, he can pretty much go everywhere he wants.
Oh yeah, there's that whole, Misery Mire area. That's a thing.
Meanwhile, AceZer is going for Skull Woods, which used to be a really good gold mine back in open mode. Let's see if Keysanity proves us to be still a good dungeon.
I find Skull Woods usually has something. There's the map of Mire. I'll give you a little bit of information. Alright, so it turns out, looks like Palace of Darkness is one of our crystals, as is Thieves Town. And Turtle Rock is a pendant. So although we know where the medallion to get in is, we don't know if we're going to need to get in there.
From my experience, most dungeons you need to go into at least once in Keysanity. It's part of you need so many keys and big keys to go through this world that you probably need to go everywhere to get those, but we might get a bit lucky tonight.
Alright, so it looks like Elminster is going to be making his way to the back of Skull Woods, or at least the eastern, or the western Dark World. Meanwhile, we have found the other castle tower key in Skull Woods.
Now, I believe that so far the second key might not be used, as going for Aghanim does not open up much. It's true that they don't have the hammer yet, but they do have the flippers, so it can get to the other side.
Yeah, the only scenario which can really troll you on this one is if... Well, which could have trolled you on this one was if the hammer was in, like, the Pyramid Fairy, because then you'd need to use that to get there. But the problem with that is Pod is one of the 5-6 crystals. You need the hammer for that, so that's not possible either.
Yep, so today the logic saves us.
Another T-Rock key, and there's the Tower of Hera small key as well. Now the Tower of Hera small key at the moment doesn't unlock anything because we don't have a fire source.
I think that's coming soon enough. That's my prediction.
Alright, so Elminster making the dip into Thieves Town finds the boots!
This is a very fast seed so far. Boots, flute, and mirror already in 31 minutes.
Alright, next time in Thieves Town, we've got another pod key. I think that's like the third or fourth one I've seen.
Yeah, I believe that was a third one, so that's a bit of an indication that pod might hold something if you try and breadcrumb it.
Yeah, so the third pod key in the logic opens up an additional 3 items, assuming you have the lamp in the logic. The third pod key, or like the second pod key, if you use your keys correctly, can be extremely important. Elminster remembering that big key in the library, and it's the Desert Palace big key.
It's not a bad big key to have. So far, it only opens up the big key chest, but it just needs a fire source.
We also found the small key.
Yeah,
as well.
That's right.
So now I'm just thinking, give me a fire source and access to desert, which Elminster already has, and we're in business. Just a big 20 from the blacksmiths. I guess we can call them the counterfeit operation today. As Elminster takes the purple chest for a ride. Yeah, finding that mirror early on is going to be a big deal for Elminster, while AceZer has just picked up the Cane of Samaria. From the Stump Kid.
The cave south of the grove just had a small key for Ganon's tower, so not very useful once you already had 2.
There is that.
I can't believe it. Hype Cave was actually hyped by having the hammer in it.
Wow. Not to mention a third Turtle Rock small key. So that's another Turtle Rock thing. We've already got the Ice Rod, and as we know, Turtle Rock may not be required, but it's a pendant, which means it's probably required because it's Turtle Rock.
Yeah, that's pretty much what happens every time.
The way Turtle Rock works is if it's a pendant, it's probably required. If it's a crystal, it's definitely required. Alright, so it looks like Elminster's going to show us what the 5-6 crystals are. Turns out it's Pod and Ice Palace.
So right now, they're pretty much well equipped to go into Pod. AceZer is making his way through there, and I believe Elm will too soon enough.
Elm's going to go pick up that Ether Medallion.
Maligord checking the Meyer shed and gets rewarded with a lamp. Then that's the first fire source.
Oh, wow.
It also has the added benefit of removing any dark rooms.
Speaking of fire sources, AceZer just picked up the fire rod in Pod.
First chest, of course. It's like it. I think this seed just wants to get over it already.
And it turns out that the Bombos Medallion is what is required to get into Misery Mire. Oh, and the Swamp Key on the Desert Ledge. Swamp Key is one of the most important keys in the game.
Indeed, because you are not getting very far inside Swamp without that one.
Oh, nice. A tempered sword on the torch in Desert.
Makes sense.
I mean, it has been, burning the torch for a while. I think that's how you do tempering. Alright, so a few more chests we can check in Desert. Also, Elminster could just go beat Landmolas.
Indeed. Get it out of the way right now while he's here.
So we find another shield upgrade in Pod. And the big key of Tower of Hera. And we do note that Tower of Hera is in fact a crystal. I believe we saw that on a previous map check. So you're gonna need that for sure. Now we do not know the pendant or crystal status of Desert. So once Elminster finishes Desert Palace, he will either be happy that he got a crystal or happy that he got a pendant and now he knows where all 3 pendants are.
Yeah, pretty much. So that's some good information.
Either one seems good.
And you know, maybe he's also lucky by getting a pendant if pedestal is required.
There is that possibility. Maligord, checking the hookshot cave, picked up that mirror. And another bottle. And Elminster takes down Landmullis, picks up the big key of Skull Woods and a crystal. So we now know Desert, Tower of Hera, Palace of Darkness, Thieves Town, Ice Palace. That's 5 of our 7 crystals. Maligord is going downstairs in Hera. Kind of unfortunate that they don't have the big key.
We see AceZer here attempting the hammer yonk trick. Gets it right away. Now it's easy to get lost inside this room here that AceZer is in, just because there's quite a maze there, and without a lamp you can bump into ledges, enemies, and the fire attacks these enemies do. Yeah, there's a lot going on.
Oh, well, apparently, there have been more maps acquired than I knew about. Alright, so AceZer gonna go pick up the mirror.
Elm is not wasting any time and going straight for the dungeons he knows he can do. Already in Tower of Hera, trying to go up. Just gonna clear it out pretty easily.
Seems good. There's the Thieves Town small key. Now, it's not as, lucrative as, say, the big key, but it does sort of indicate that once you find the big key, the logic does in fact want you to complete it.
It seems Light was heading inside the basement to check what was in Tower of Hero there, but kind of forgot he doesn't have a fire source yet. It does
Well,
happen.
that's unfortunate, but it's not outside the realm of, human understanding.
Yeah, it's very understandable to just forget that you don't have a specific item every now and then.
All right, so Maligord gonna pick up the Skullwood, the big key here off the land molas. And of course, the first crystal. Very important. Meanwhile, LiteYear making his way into Palace of Darkness. Gonna pick up that fire rod and be quite salty.
Turns out the basement of Hero is only bombs.
Yep. Alright, so Elminster is heading over to Turtle Rock. We may be seeing a trip inside. I mean, with all these keys, what do you expect, right?
Yeah, might as well use them. Of course, not having the fire rod beforehand is kind of a bit of shame since he does have to skip a few chests at the beginning here.
Yeah, very true. But it's not the world's biggest deal. There are a couple of things you can't reach inside here on account of having no big key, but there are plenty of chests you can reach. You can reach that first chest, you can reach the chomp room. If you want to, you can reach the big key chest, but the logic wants you to have 4 small keys. And then, of course, there's the Mimic Cave. Oh, the mushroom in the chomp room. So we've got the Cane of Brian, which unlocks the Spike Cave. We've got the mushroom, which unlocks the witch's item. What other fetch quest item can we pick up in Turtle Rock? Powder?
Maybe we'll get to say a cake.
Oh, and Elminster's going for the big chest. Which makes sense because Trinex is a pendant, who cares? Gets the Quake medallion, which is confirmed useless. So the only thing left over here in the Turtle Rock dip is Mimic Cave. It's not even technically part of Turtle Rock, but it might as well be.
Sword Beam's trolling Alma a bit here.
Yep, whole lot of diddly in the first part of Turtle Rock. So you'll want to find a big key before you head in, if you're anybody else. Now, Minster, getting a little confused. And he's going to make the play on Palace of Darkness, it looks like. Or maybe not? Yeah, okay.
And as we know, it's not a bad play, going with that fire rod in the first chest.
Oh, yeah. Something turns out to be in the roller room that's blocked by the fire rod. That's going to be unfortunate for Elminster, let's say that. Oh, everyone's been to Eastern Palace. Because the flute was hiding in Eastern Palace.
Well, judging from what they have so far, what do you think the next point of action would be, Bob? Going to Ice Palace or Swamp Palace?
Let's see. Given the choice between ice and swamp, I almost always choose ice. It depends on what item was the latest to unlock swamp. And I think ice is actually available pretty early on in terms of the logic.
Yeah, the only thing they needed since last we talked about ice was pretty much a fire source, and they were available pretty early.
Yeah. One of them was in the first chest of pods, so it's just like, it's right there.
Either way, we'll get to see both of them since they're both crystals, but yeah, it's going to be interesting to see in which order they do it, since they're missing a big key for both dungeons.
So Skull Woods is a pendant, but Swamp is also a crystal. So they're both crystals, so you'll want to do them both. It's just that full clearing Swamp takes a long time. Full clearing Ice also takes a fairly decent amount of time, but I don't think quite as much if you have a bunch of keys that you need.
Oh yeah, definitely. Ice Palace, once you do have a few keys, it saves a lot of time.
And we got Trolldorm doing what Trolldorm does over on AceZer screen. And there's the 4th Turtle Rock key in the graveyard ledge.
Now, all that's missing for completion of Turtle Rock is that big old big key. It looks like Maligord is trying his hand at Swamp right now.
Alright. I'm not gonna say I'm a huge fan of going to Swamp early, but you know, it could pay out.
You could still find a few decent keys in here.
You know, Swamp was also pretty much available at the same time as Ice, though. So, yeah, it's pretty close. So it looks like LiteYear is going to the back of Skull Woods. Oh yeah, it does make tons of sense for Maligord to go into Swamp because they have not found the Fire Rod or Bombos. They haven't been
that's a
pod
good
yet.
point.
Alright. AceZer0187 also making the play on Skull Woods.
It's an interesting play considering that Skull Woods is a pendant.
Yeah, I'm not sure that every player is necessarily aware of all the pendants and crystals we are.
That is true. We tend to forget that small fact. But anyway, with half magic and fire rod, it's gonna make easy work of the boss here.
Not to mention the tempered sword. Or, well, okay, AceZer0187 has tempered sword. LiteYear doesn't, but should be fine.
I did not even see a fight from AceZer0187. It was so fast.
Mm-hmm. But we got a couple of red jewelly things. And that's about it. Just a piece of heart in the second chest of Castle Tower for Elminster. So we know Castle Tower is a complete bust today. Alright, LiteYear gonna go pick up that lamp. Maligord finds the Ice Palace Big Key in Swamp.
That's not a bad find. Gives access to an additional location to check inside Ice Palace.
Yep. And it does make it where you may not have to do the special bomb jump trick if you don't want to.
That's true. It does put it back on. I don't I'm not quite sure if it's still on logic, but it's a better logic, let's say.
Well, with a big key, a small key, and the Cane of Samaria, all of Ice Palace is in logic.
Catfish only holding on to bombs. I mean, Zora already had some mitts, so Catfish could have something useful.
So, one thing we missed over on Elminster's stream is that he turned in the mushroom. The mushroom turned out to be worth a key to pod. So the logic says you have to do that. I say phooey on the logic.
Hooray for minor glitches, am I right?
Mm-hmm.
Now Elm's going to make his way through Thieves Town, and that's a couple of new things we'll see in here, as he's the first one to have all the things necessary to complete it.
Wait, where was the big key at Thieves Town?
No idea. One thing I'm sure, though, is he has the big key because he's already in the back part.
Oh, Dark Maze. And Maligord finds a small key to Skull Woods on Hargis, so not the greatest drop there. So the only real significant thing was the Ice Palace big key over on the left side, which is just trolly. So I'm feeling like Ice Palace Big Chest will have the Turtle Rock Big Key.
I mean, it has to. Something has to troll these players at this point. It's Keysanity.
And Maligord cannot get into Ice Palace at the moment. Oh, there's the Swamp Palace Big Key in Thieves Town.
We debunked the theory that it would be inside of Ice Palace, it seems.
And we'll go up against Blind real fast. This should be a pretty simple fight. Most experienced runners don't have many problems with the Blind fight.
Yeah, he's very well equipped here, having a sword and even the fire shield.
Yeah, Elminster just doing a sickeningly good job on that Blind fight.
I would say it was nearly perfect.
All right. So, what's LiteYear going to be doing here? It's going back up to 1. Looks like we may be seeing another T-Rock dip soon. Well, no, he never got the medallion, so I don't know what's going on. Oh, he'll probably go to Tower of Hera. Got lots of people picking up that 4th T-Rock key. Elminster just now checking the digging game. And we've got Elminster also about to make the Swamp Palace play prior to going into ice. Very interesting. Now that Swamp Palace big key that Elminster found might be sort of tipping the balance towards Swamp in his mind.
I think that's, yeah, I would say that it gives access to the big chest inside the swamp, so might as well do that. He's going to be rewarded a bit by finding the big key to ice, not ice. Was it ice that wasn't here?
Yeah, big key of ice was in Swamp. Catfish with some explosives. Soggy explosives. Probably don't want to actually use those. And AceZer is making the Ice Palace play.
Now, without the big key, he will have to do the ice balance bomb jump to get through here. But I'm pretty sure he'll be able to do so. Most players of this caliber are able to do all these minor tricks, so I'm not worried at all.
Yeah, the Ice Palace bomb jump is really one of the first tricks you kind of try to learn as you're going through. You get so much time saved from it.
Indeed.
Oh, the pod big key in the big chest of Swamp.
Wow, it just seems like everything Elm does is just going according to plan. He's having a really good time here.
So, unfortunately for those of us who are not the biggest fans of Swamp, turns out something's in here that's important.
Hey, having something in Swamp beats having something in inside Mire, right?
Nah, Mire's the best. What's wrong with you? Okay. Oh, that is gross. Because, yeah, so the Thieves' Town big key was in the Dark Maze of Pod. The Swamp Palace big key was in the big chest of Thieves' Town. And the big key of Pod is in the big chest of swamp. So you had to go into pod twice, no matter what you did.
It's like a big merry-go-round of big keys, just in wrong dungeons.
Alright, so AceZer officially wins this match because there's the best item in the game. Magic powder.
I can't disagree.
I mean, he doesn't actually officially win. But also there's the big key of Eastern. There's the Hyrule Castle small key. Real important right now, don't you think? Nope.
Bit too late for that one to be useful.
Alright, so AceZer heads over to the ice tea room, picks that up, and now we'll be heading down to Cold Stair, I assume. You're gonna want to open that door. Alright, let's see if Elminster, because I imagine he does, see if Elminster knows the poke dash strats here. Maybe not. That's okay. There's still nothing wrong with grabbing a puff and slashing it with the tempered sword. That's still extremely fast.
Makes quick work of Argus with only 2 spins.
So, do you think Elminster will head into Ice Palace next?
Yeah, for sure.
Elm disagrees. He's going to Pod. And he did pick up that Pod big key, so he can finish that as well.
It's not a bad play. I mean, Pod is required too, so, and both of these crystals are quite close to each other, so we'll probably see him mirror and go to ice just after this. You know, judging from what's left, really, there's only Bombos that's preventing Elm from being in go mode already.
Yep. I imagine he's going to go check the big chest. Nope, he's not even checking the big chest of Pod. He's just going to go finish Helmosaur. Maybe he'll come back in after beating Helmosaur.
I can see that maybe saving some time. If Elmosaur has Bombos, that's a good time save.
I mean, is he actually in go mode with Bombos? If he finds it?
Well, Ice Palace has everything he needs to complete it, and the same goes for Meyer, so...
Yeah, seems legit.
Already has a bunch of small keys and the big key for Gan's tower. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Alright, so Maligord gets that big key for Thieves Town. While Elminster is taking down Helmasaur. Couple of spin slashes, that'll do it. Just picks up 300 rupees on Helmasaur. We'll see if he goes back in for that big chest.
I mean, he's so close to the finish line by having the only item he's missing is Bombos that I wonder if he's taking the gamble to skip it. And he is.
Wow. Or maybe not.
I think he was trying to judge here. Should I do it? Should I not? Ugh.
Should I stay or should I go now? I don't know. Alright, big 20 in that big chest, and now Elminster, I imagine, will be heading into Ice Palace.
At least now he has a clear mind of not leaving behind that whatever was in the big chest here.
Alright, so we will find out one thing new when Elminster goes into Ice Palace, and that's what's in the big chest.
Indeed. At least with his big key for Eastern, that might lead him back into there.
If Turok Big Key is an Ice Palace big chest, you get to call me a witch, is what you do. Yeah, it depends. But either way, you have to use bombos to do the burning.
Now, since these guys are already doing stuff we've seen pretty much already from another runner's perspective, I'll take this moment to give a shout out to all 4 of these guys for giving us a great race, great and fast race right now. So give them a follow if you like what you're seeing.
I'd kind of like to also shout out the trackers, because nobody gives the trackers enough love. These are Melee Wizard and Zertanol. Thank you very much for helping us out with keeping up with the items that all these players find.
Indeed, they help us very much as commentators.
Alright, so Elminster making his way down into the big chest room. We will see that big chest shortly. Just 10 arrows. So it's looking like the, you know, unless it's in one of those really straggly locations, like, I don't know, Spike Cave or something, we could be needing to go into Eastern Palace.
Yeah, it's like the rabbit hole is a bit further down than we thought.
AceZer gonna go see the useless things that are in the castle tower, while Elminster is gonna go face off against Cold Stare. This will be, I imagine, a pretty simple fight.
Indeed, half magic and tempered sword make Cold Stare pretty easy to go through. Now, can he get an efficient fight? That's another thing.
It is pretty decently efficient. Oh yeah, he did just pick up the 5-6 crystals. So that's another possibility for items.
Yeah, that'd be a great time to get that big bomb up to the Pyramid Fairy. And if it turns out that there's nothing good here, he'll be right on his way to Eastern after that.
Oh yeah, the roller room. Still in play. The breadsmiths were just 20 rupees. I don't know, it wasn't really a scam. It was just, you know, it was a solid return on investment. You paid him 10, you got 20. Just a bottle and a piece of heart at the Pyramid Fairy. AceZer is going to be the second player to make the dip into Turtle Rock. We're going to get to see what is on the right side, behind the fire rod locked room. Meanwhile, Elminster going for Batman. Small key.
Only a pod small key.
That's the last pod key.
Required by logic, but not by players.
Alright, so the next important thing on our screen will be what AceZer finds in these two chests here in the back. We got 10 arrows and 50 rupees. Once again, nothing of importance. Skullwood's big chest, as stated before, only big 20. So Eastern Palace, I think Spike Cave is still on the table. Other than that, Spike Cave is plenty in logic. They have the Cane of Brian. The pod big key being in that Swamp Palace big chest is a pretty huge troll. Alright, so LiteYear is making the play on Eastern Palace. This is going to be quite possibly the most important thing we see for a while.
Indeed. At this point, I think either Armos or Spike Cave has the big key for Turtle Rock, or Bombos.
Yeah. Could also be the Eastern Palace big chest.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Just a piece of heart in the big chest.
Oh, that's right. There's Sasha himself that could hold something. Forgot that Eastern was vanilla.
Mm-hmm. All right, LiteYear coming up to Armos Knights. There it is! It's the Bombos medallion.
And there we have it. We have no mode.
Now, unfortunately, LiteYear does not know where the pod big key is. And is actually going to have to go on quite a trip to get it.
Now
I imagine LiteYear will be making a beeline for Misery Mire.
Yeah, I wouldn't understand why, considering the keys he has right now. It's pretty much the only dungeon that's available to him.
Yeah, Spike Cave just turning out to be a big heart container.
Now, Elm was clearing a few overworld locations here pretty fast, but as he's running out of options, I think he's probably going not into Eastern, apparently.
Yeah, this might actually be a Spike Cave check. Ooh, LiteYear finds the book in Mire, so that's going to lead LiteYear further down the rabbit hole.
Ah, yes, more side quests to check, leading him further and further from what he needs to find.
Alright, so LiteYear going to check what's in the vanilla big key chest of Mire. Meanwhile, Elminster is making the play on Eastern Palace. He'll be able to get that Bombos medallion and be in official go mode. All right. AceZer is checking some more of Palace of Darkness. Having gotten every single key, he is unafraid to open that dark maze door where he will get the big key of Thieves Town.
Fortunately, AceZer had a good idea to go right into Eastern after his dip into Pod, which will net him Bombos and into Mire.
Very nice. But once again, unfortunately, he's going to be missing that Pod Big Key. So he's going to have to go back to Thieves Town and then back into Swamp Palace to get that. Nice. Elminster taking advantage of one of the updates that was added to V28. After picking up the Bombos Medallion, mirrored out without picking up the pendant from Eastern Palace.
Oh, that's right. That's a small change that saves a bit of time.
There's Ace picking up his pendant. I mean, not pendant. Well, yes, pendant and also medallion. There we go.
Now, considering what he has left to get, he might want to check what Sahashala has.
Yep. LiteYear is going to take down Vitreous. Finds 50 rupees. So it looks like we will not be baited by that Turtle Rock Big Key at any point here. Alright, Elminster making use of some nice spin strats to take down some eyeballs, finishing them off with a few arrows, and then we'll put 8 arrows in the eyeball of Vitreous to take him down. That's going to do it. That will get the 7th crystal for Elminster. And we're going up GG. So, real important technical question for you. If you are Elminster and you don't have the silver arrows going up Ganon's Tower, how many of the 4 chests on the way up are you checking?
I'm thinking maybe 2.
Alright. I don't know what Elminster's general plan is there, but we'll see.
I mean, it's fairly certain that he knows how to do Ganon Silverless, but given the time save it does give him, might want to check at least the Trolldorn chest. Has to hookshot to it anyway.
Yeah, so I've seen, you know, it's very strange because there is some probability that you'll find the silvers, and that will save time if you find it in those 4 chests. But if you don't find it, it is a bit of a time loss. So who knows? Now Elminster is just massively far ahead at this point, and I would imagine he knows it. The way this seed has been treating him. Interesting. So we had the red boomerang and Big 20 at the tablets after finding that book. So once again, the debate is real.
Could definitely be worse for LiteYear. He did not find the big key for Turtle Rock, so he will be stopped shortly in here.
Having a little trouble with that eye laser door there. Manages to get through. And Elminster is making the climb through the gauntlet. So, Elminster finishing off the gauntlet, no problem. Land mode goes down, no problems at all, and we head into the upper Ganon's Tower area, making use of those Kana Samaria strats to take down the Wizrobes. Beautiful.
Always so satisfying to see.
Using lamp strats on these torches, I assume to save magic so he doesn't have to fill up here and can just fire rod this room very quickly. And it looks like Elminster is actually going to check these chests on the way up.
Does not find the arrows he's looking for, but he does get a good refill.
Grabs 300 more rupees just in case you need a bunch of potions for Ganon. I doubt it. And we see Trolldorm 2. Just one more shot. And there he goes. just a bomb upgrade in the final chest, so we will be seeing a Silverless Ganon fight today.
It's going to be fairly quick with the Tempered Sword. I believe it's 12 spin slashes that he will need to do on Ganon on the last phase.
That is true. So Elminster starts this phase with a double on Aghanim 2 and then immediately proceeds to get a single. I think that next one only counted as one. And that is correct because he just got another one. And there we go. 2, 1, 1, 1, 1. And Elminster heads over to the Ganon fight. I think sub 150 might still be on the table.
It is definitely a very good time to have in Keysanity.
And that should bring us to phase 2, where we need 12 more slashes or some spins. And we go to phase 3.
Yeah. Now, having the red bale here does help a lot during the Ganon fight, as you can tank a few hits just to get a few more slashes in.
And looks like the silver arrows were in G Tower, just not anywhere convenient to look. So Elminster gets 2 shots off on Ganon and sets up for the triple here. Yeah, 3 in 1 cycle. Very well done. Wow, and another one. Wasn't aware you could get a triple from that position. Elminster is having no trouble here whatsoever. And down goes Ganon. And Elminster finishes in first place with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 49 minutes, and 35 seconds. Good lord.
That was quite a fast seed. A really good change from the latest seeds I've been commentating. A good break.
Alright, we'll see if we can get Elminster in here to talk about it.
Meanwhile, AceZero is still trying to find where that pesky big key for Palace of Darkness is.
Yep, we know it's in the big chest of Swamp Palace.
Given his route, he might be going there soon.
Yeah, could very well be. We can likely trace this back to one decision by LiteYear, because he was up on Death Mountain the very first time. He had the mitts and did not go to the Dark World section of Death Mountain after picking up that Moon Pearl, and that cost him having the mirror. And so it cost him the ability to do the routing that Elminster did. And it sounds like we are joined now by our winner, Elminster. How you doing?
I'm alright. I'm a bit sick, but other than that, I'm okay.
Yeah, well, you know, your plays were also sick, so there's that.
I don't know, that Turtle Rock was a complete bust.
Yeah, well, everybody went to Turtle Rock, so what are you gonna do?
I'm actually kind of surprised. Actually, I had it in the back of my mind that I went to Turtle Rock super early. I felt like the 3 keys were leading me there. So I had in the back of my mind for a very long time that I was afraid I'd left something behind in the Fire Rod section.
Yeah, we were concerned about that as well, but yeah, turned out no problems there. Just sitting on Armos.
So I'm sure I wasn't the first person to find bombos.
Oh, I think you were.
Oh, really? I was actually really worried about that because I just about the only thing I had left available to check was the Fire Rod section of Turtle Rock, I think.
So the seed did you a little bit of favors in terms of your routing, and you were the only one who managed to pull this off, because you were the only one who went up to Death Mountain with the Titansmiths. Or actually, there was one other, but they neglected to go to the Dark World to get that mirror, right? And
oh,
so,
really?
Yeah. And so you got that, and you were able to get the mirror, and you were able to route in everything you needed, and so that allowed you to pick up, an additional pod key that probably led you in that direction, so that you could get the big key of Thieves Town, go over there, get the big key of Swamp Palace, because you were the only person to enter Swamp Palace with the big key.
Okay, and the pod big key was in the big chest, right?
Right.
Yeah, so overall, your routing was really on point, and because of that small thing, it made all the difference for all the other runners.
And there's Maligord picking up that Dark Palace big key.
Is he the first other person to find it?
Yep.
Oh my god.
Ace is about to get it as well. I see him heading for Swamp.
Yeah, it made really all the difference here, and that's that's the culprit for making this seed about, I think, maybe 30 minutes longer than it should have been.
So where was the swamp big key itself? I forgot.
It was in the big key of Thieves Town, the big chest of Thieves Town.
Okay.
So the big key of Thieves Town was in Pod, that you had to go to Thieves. Then you had to go to Thieves Town to get the big key of Swamp. Then you had to go to Swamp to get the big key of Pod and go back. So the forced double dip of Pod is real.
So then, where was the small key to Thieves' Town? I don't think that was that hard to find.
Yeah, I think it was Paradox Cave.
I think,
Okay.
yeah, it was somewhere early like that.
It's either Paradox or Mini Moldorm. That's what my brain is saying.
So I think Swamp actually opened quite early, like before the Thieves' Town big key was likely found by most people. So I guess people would have gone in there earlier without the big key.
Yeah,
It
we
just
were
so
wondering.
happened that the way you did it got you that big key. I don't know if it was by design, or if you just kind of made a couple of good guesses.
I did put off Swamp for a little bit, hoping to have the big key going in. Kind of towards the like beginning to middle of the seed. If something seems open, but I'm still in a convenient overworld place to check a lot of stuff, I might just put off a dungeon, just because there's a good chance that I'll find either, the big key to check the big chest, or, the final piece of the puzzle for that, so I can full clear it, or I might find something that leads me in an entirely different direction.
Right, and also Swamp Palace is usually garbage, right?
Yeah, it feels that way. I don't remember if anything was in it besides Pod Big Key this time.
Well, Ice Big Key was in it, but that wasn't strictly required. Just
Yes.
logic.
I was actually happy to see Ice Big Key because
Because you hadn't been to Ice yet.
I was putting off Ice until I found the big key, honestly. Like, I wasn't gonna put it off forever, but I was putting off it a little bit in hopes of finding the big key, so that worked out.
Yeah, we were actually wondering if having the big key for Swamp actually made the decision easier to go into Swamp first before Ice.
Oh yeah, that's the entire reason I went into Swamp first.
Single key makes all the difference, and it was the correct decision in this case.
And your opponent is about to go find that big key for Pod as well. Just made the second trip into Swamp. Whereas Maligord just picked up the 7th crystal from Helmasaur. I think it was, kind of a blessing that you never found that big key at Turtle Rock.
Was it available?
Nope.
Oh, okay. It was probably in Ganon's Tower then.
Yeah. It was sort of a blessing by the seed that it wasn't going to troll you any further than that.
So you know what's funny is, I was leaning heavily towards checking right side of Turtle Rock before going to Eastern, because I didn't want that to be the thing that made me lose, was going in early without the fire round. The reason I didn't go and check them was because I was afraid I was going to find the Turtle Rock big key there and get led really far down a rabbit hole. So I figured, if Eastern doesn't pay out, or if Eastern happens to have it, then I can be a little more secure in my decision.
Well, that is certainly a great way to think about it. So yeah, well played. The seed, as you can see, the other runners here, all of them pretty good caliber runners, and not a single one of them anywhere close to that time because of the way your patience in the routing and making sure to try to minimize your double dip potential really paid off here.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Bob.
All right. So, is there anything else you'd like to say about this seed before we continue covering these other guys? I mean, you're welcome to hang around and do whatever, but we're gonna go ahead and we'll probably go ahead and continue to cover the remainder of the race.
Yeah, I don't know. Thanks for commentating. Thanks to Melee Wizard and Zertanel for tracking. This seed, I don't like the frequency which I end up 100%ing seeds. But it's like, if you have a good route, sometimes that's not even that bad in Keysanity.
Yeah. And I mean, 161 is hardly what I'd call 100%.
It was...
I mean, it was basically 100% of what was available. I'll give you
yeah.
that. A lot of things were in either the last or almost the last possible place to check.
Yeah, I don't know. Interested to see who my 3-0 opponent ends up being next week.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be quite an interesting matchup, whatever it happens to be.
I think I'm gonna hop out of here, though. I'd rather not have a coughing fit on stream.
Sounds good. Enjoy yourself. Get to feeling better, hopefully, and we'll see you next week.
Now that was quite a great win from Elm here. More than 12 minutes now over with the seed, while the next runner is only in the gauntlet of Ganon's Tower, Maligord.
Yep. And of course, his actual opponent, is just now on Helmasaur.
Now, this race between AceZer and Maligord is quite close now that I look at, and it's going to be interesting because any minor mistakes here by any of those two might secure the win for the other guy. So, gotta watch how this develops.
Alright, so the last part of the gauntlet for Maligord, getting through the Landmola's 2 fight. And we make our way up to the Wizrobe rooms. Grabbing a nice chunk of magic from the last Wizrobe there. Gonna make it very easy to just coast through these last few rooms. And require lighting torches and such. AceZer is making his way through the gauntlet rather quickly. And Maligord, it looks like, took a little bit of time because I think they were possibly in danger of activating that sprite despawn glitch that you really don't want to see as you go up Ganon's Tower.
Oh no, that's one of the worst things that could happen to you. Especially when you don't know where your opponent is nearly 2 hours in.
course, Maligord checking these 4 chests on the way up in hopes of finding those silver arrows. Is not going to find them, though. Alright, a couple of spin attacks on Trolldorm 2, and Trolldorm 2 is down. Hookshot across, get that bomb upgrade, and Maligord making his way to Aghanim 2. Time for a little geometry lesson. Maligord making sure to get at least 1 hit per phase here. And there's the double to finish it off. And we make the play for the Ganon fight.
Yep, it's all going to come down to how Ganon behaves on this fight.
Now, interestingly enough, AceZer did not bother checking the first 2 chests on the way up here, but did check the chest before Moldorm 2. Maligord on the first phase of Ganon. And now on the second phase, gonna need some additional slashes to take down phase 2 of Ganon. AceZer is starting the Agatu fight. Ooh, Maligord taking quite a bit of damage there. Oof.
That was an unlucky teleport.
Looks like Maligord's gonna go pick up a few safety items, so this could be AceZer's chance to catch up. Alright, he's just picking up that fairy.
I think it's going to come down to whoever is better at doing Silverless Ganon.
Oh my. Here's phase 2 for Maligord, whereas AceZer starting the Ganon fight. Maligord makes it to phase 3. And that should be enough for AceZer to reach phase 3 as well. So who can execute the better Silverless Ganon?
This is definitely turning out to be one of the closest race.
Now we're having a little trouble with that Silverless, or he freezes Ganon, but perhaps it was on purpose to avoid the Fire Bat.
making sure he gets that torch glitch. It's a bit hard without it on the silverless fight.
Yeah, not impossible, just not easy. And AceZer has moved on to phase 4 as well. Both players managing to get the torch glitch no problem. And this is very close. There it goes! Maligord takes down Ganon. And AceZer also takes down Ganon. You'll note the timers are a little different on our screen. But there we have it. Maligord finish in first place in this race with an official SRL time of 2 hours, 12 minutes, and 11 seconds. AceZer finishing in second place in this race with an official SRL time of 2 hours, 12 minutes, and 18 seconds. 7 seconds difference.
Well played. That was wow. Very close. And meanwhile, LiteYear is about to finish too, as he's already down to again in just a few seconds here.
Alright, so LiteYear making it to the Ganon fight. We'll see how this goes. There's Ganon stopping a little prematurely there. That's something I see occasionally.
I don't think I've seen that before.
Alright, and LiteYear makes his way into phase 3. And we are joined in chat by AceZer. How you doing?
Pretty good. Yeah, that was an exciting finish, huh?
Yeah, it was pretty exciting. It was pretty close. Is there any way you could maybe back away from the mic a little bit or something?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Is that a little better?
A little bit. It's kind of distortion-y. I think you might be getting some feedback. I don't know what's going on there, but...
Okay. I'm not sure.
We'll see. But for now, we'll just make do with what we got. So yeah, it was a very close race between you and your opponent. Both of you getting, supremely trolled by the Palace of Darkness Big Key.
Yeah, I was really close to going back into Swamp first, but I thought since Ice Palace was the one that trolled me in my last race, I decided to go to Ice Palace instead, and that didn't pay off.
Yeah, that sort of confirmation bias can hit us all there.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah, and apparently the silvers were in Ganon's Tower. We just don't know where. And I believe we are also being joined by Maligord, who, congratulations on winning that race.
Yeah, GG, Maligord.
So at the moment, not hearing anything from Maligord, but I'm sure we'll fix that soon.
Probably the shock of winning by only a few seconds.
And in the meantime, LiteYear managed to finish off Ganon with an official SRL time of 2 hours 17 minutes even.
Yes, GG to LiteYear. That was quite a good finish on him, despite everything that went by.
All right. So we will be talking to all of our runners soon. Maligord, GG. We're still not hearing anything from you on our end, but well played and congratulations on that win.
It was definitely not an easy sea to go through, and in the end, just route efficiently, given all the all the fetch quest big keys that were all over the place.
And once again, we're going to be joined by LiteYear. Congratulations on finishing.
Yeah, thank you. Congrats, Elm.
Yeah, so this was quite a trolly seed for a lot of you, getting trolled by that pod big key in Swamp Palace. As you might imagine, your opponent was the only player to go into Swamp Palace already having the big key.
Yeah.
And that just sort of made it happen. So perhaps we can hear Maligord now? Let's see. No? Okay.
Yeah, I suspected when Elm finished, that's probably where the... Because I don't think I even had the Thieves Town big key at that point. Might have been on my way to getting it, though.
Yeah, the Thieves Town big key being in that dark maze of pod, which of course required... You then were required to go into Thieves Town to get the Swamp big key out of the big chest, and then that led you to the pod big key in Swamp, and then you had to go back to pod. So that forced pod double dip is real.
Mm-hmm. I'm suspecting the 6th pod key was probably on pedestal, too.
Magic Bat?
Oh. No, I got the one from Magic Bat.
Okay, if it wasn't the Magic Bat one, it was Mushroom.
Yeah, Mushroom. Okay, never mind.
Maligord, check 1. Can you hear me?
There you are. Hello.
Yeah, for some reason my mic doesn't work while I'm streaming, which is bad for a speedrunner.
Yeah.
That seems less than ideal.
Well, congrats again for winning that race so closely.
Yeah, that looked good. Congratulations, Maligord.
That was quite the roller coaster. I felt like I was behind until I found the big key for pod. Then I felt like I may be ahead, and as I finished again, and I felt like, oh yeah, I won that. And then I saw it 7 seconds after I typed done, And I'm like, there's no way that happened, because that's the exact time that I won my fall tournament match.
Nice. Yeah, you were significantly ahead coming out of Helmasaur. Your opponent did make up some time in the gauntlet. And of course, that initial Ganon mistake there at the beginning cost you a little time as well. But you still managed to clutch it out.
Yeah, that first Ganon hug, when he teleports up to that corner, it's usually a little left. I thought I was just fine, but no, he appeared over to the right more and hugged me.
Ugh.
It's almost like he didn't want to die.
I mean, most beings don't particularly enjoy dying.
Yeah, but good race to AceZer. I'm glad we gave you guys a good show.
Yeah, thank you. Good race to you too, Maligord.
Yeah, it was certainly worth watching every second of it.
Yeah, I'm not even mad about losing in a race that close either.
Yeah, even if I'd lost by 7 seconds, I would have been fine with it too. I mean, my timer was green. I mean, I know, yeah, grabbing crystals doesn't quite matter in a randomizer, but for timing, but I was green the whole way until I hit that roadblock with Pod and Meyer. So I mean, I felt like I was running pretty good.
Yeah, overall, I think the seed made it quite clear what was open to you guys, except for exactly these two dungeons, which kind of set you a bit on the chase for big keys. But yeah, I think if it weren't for that one big key that blocked all the other ones, it could have been quite a fast seed.
Yeah, oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, I wish I had been able to do that dark room and pod when I first went there, because I know the dark room forwards going through the key lock door, but I don't know it the other direction, and I got stuck.
Yeah, that's funny. I actually don't know it the normal way. But yeah, at least none of you found that. None of you found the Turtle Rock big key. That would have sent you down another rabbit hole that you didn't want. I think it was probably in GG though.
I was expecting to see that Turtle Rock key so early.
When the big key popped out of the big chest and swamp for me, I was expecting that to be Turtle Rock.
Same.
So I'm really disappointed in Aghanim Tower. I mean, with the vanilla small key in the first chest there.
Yeah, that was something.
Yeah, and then just a heart piece to finish it out. Pretty sad. Well, once again, GG's to all the runners here. Congratulations. Is there anything else any of you guys would like to say to our fans, or to anything else about this?
Thanks for watching, everyone, and thanks to you guys for the commentary and the restream and the tracking. I'm sure you guys did a fantastic job. I'll be watching the VOD later.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks to everybody that's involved in this tournament. I'm having a lot of fun here.
All right. So, once again, thank you to our runners, Elminster, LiteYear, AceZer, Maligord, for this excellent display. I want to thank Feasel for running the restream here today, and of course our two trackers, Melee Wizard and Zertinol, for keeping track of all these items, and of course to my co-commentator Dynasty Zero. Couldn't have done it without you, sir.
It's pretty much the same for me, Dr. Boptastic. It was quite an amazing seed to commentate, and I would sure like to do it some more.
All right. So with that, I think I think it's about time to call this to a close. What do you think?
Yeah.
All right, so with that, I have been Dr. Bobtastic,
And I'm Dynasty Zero.
and I'll see you later.